And I'd like to welcome in now Shakur Stevenson to the show. And for people who don't know, I'm involved in boxing now for I don't know how many years. And if someone asked me who's the best bet to be the next pound for pound number one guy when given the chance, I'd put my money on Shakur. Shakur has more to lose. Yeah. He's the undefeated fighter. He's seen as the eventual pound for pound champ potentially. Yes. But Teo has more to win. He has more to gain. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to Kambosos, and he came back from that.
The opposite of what they expect you to do. So for me, I try to do the unexpected. I try to make sure if you go out there expecting me to move and run around the ring, I want to give you the opposite. So it was a strategic game plan.
Shakur Stevenson tells Max Kellerman that once the bell sounds, there is no place for friendliness. Respect exists outside the ring, but inside it becomes a battle for control. Shakur says Teofimo Lopez is confident and dangerous, so taking him lightly would be a mistake. To succeed, he must assert his skill, dictate the tempo, and slowly wear his opponent down mentally, while remaining focused, disciplined, and sharp until the final bell.
I won't be one of them fighters.
I see. You're not saying you don't respect your opponent's fight game. You're saying you're not there to make friends. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not here to make friends. At the end of the day, my life on the line, his life on the line. We got families to feed, and I take this very serious. So at the end of the day, I can't go in there, touch gloves, and be happy and be friendly with.
Max Kellerman explains that a real super fight cannot be forced by promotion. It happens naturally when an era settles and only two elite fighters remain. He places Crawford and Canelo in that space as symbols of their generation. Kellerman feels this matchup carries similar meaning because it could signal the end of one era and the rise of another. Either Teofimo Lopez stands alone or Shakur Stevenson becomes the defining name of this time.
For Crawford and Canelo can't be promoted into existence. Right. What a real super fight is, the dust settles in an era and there are two dudes left standing. There's Ali, there's Frazier, there's Leonard, there's Hagler, there's Mayweather, there's Pacquiao. That's a super fight, right? There's Crawford, there's Canelo. Those are two big fighters of the era. This type of fight, this could easily be at the end of an era because Teo might be a dude left standing and Shakur could be the dude left standing, right? I agree. But
Shakur Stevenson says he never fights the way people expect. When opponents believe they understand his style, he intentionally changes it. If they expect caution, he turns aggressive. If they prepare for pressure, he slows the fight and controls space. Shakur views unpredictability as a major weapon. By doing the opposite of what others plan for, he forces hesitation, confusion, and mistakes. That ability to adjust keeps him ahead and separates him from many fighters.
Expect you to do one thing, and sometimes you want to give a fighter the opposite of what they expect you to do. So for me, I try to do the unexpected. I try to make sure if you go out there expecting me to move and run around the ring, I want to give you the opposite. So it was a strategic game plan too.
Did he have any pop at all?
You know, it's crazy. A lot of people say that he don't. But like, if somebody hit you in the same spot 500,000 times over and over, I don't give a fuck who it is. It's like boom, 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 over and over. You're gonna feel that spot. So he's one of them guys. Like, he's gonna constantly hit you over, and that's why his knockout percentage is a good knockout percentage.
Would you say you were? Look, you obviously barely ever get hit in a fight, but because you were in a pocket, you got hit more than you normally get hit, right? In that fight. Did your body feel different after the fight?
Hell yeah, like, I never left the ring feeling like.
Max Kellerman reminds everyone how often Teofimo Lopez has been doubted. Most fans favored Josh Taylor, yet Lopez dominated that fight. Kellerman also points to the Lomachenko win, highlighting how Lopez raised his output late to secure the decision. Even in the loss to George Kambosos, Kellerman notes Lopez was dealing with a serious medical issue that affected his performance. He argues that one bad night should not erase Lopez's history of rising under pressure.
Taylor fight, but everyone was picking Josh Taylor that you spoke to in boxing. Yeah. And we saw what Teo did to Josh Taylor. We saw what Teo did to Lomachenko. And one of the things that I think that gets lost in that fight against Lomachenko is Teo threw more than 100 punches in the final round to make sure he won that fight.
Yeah, no question. Even in the loss that he had against Kambosos, where he had a puncture, like he had some medical condition in his esophagus that like was dangerous actually, and it looked like an off night. By the way, George Kambosos doesn't like when I say this, and I apologize. I understand it feels unfair to you, and maybe it is unfair, but this is my honest opinion. It may be, but it is still my honest opinion, Malik. I just have to be honest with the way I see it. I don't think that was the best version of Teo by a long shot. But even then, he was rallying in that fight late. He has championship heart. And the thing I like about Teo's style, I mean, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just a guy who's going to hug you, he can.
Shakur Stevenson explains that sparring with Terence Crawford helped elevate his entire game. Sharing the ring with someone so smart and versatile forced him to sharpen every detail. The speed, timing, and constant adjustments pushed him beyond comfort. Crawford's ability to switch styles and read opponents helped Shakur see boxing on a deeper level. He says those sessions changed how he thinks, making him calmer, smarter, and more complete. Bernie the Boxer adds that Shakur stands out because he cannot be underestimated or controlled. Unlike other fighters, Shakur does not allow opponents to dictate movement or pace. Bernie believes De Los Santos posed little danger and never truly tested Shakur. He highlights Shakur's intelligence, composure, and adaptability as key strengths. Bernie says Shakur's ability to neutralize threats and maintain control makes him one of the toughest young champions, and against Lopez those traits could be decisive.
He couldn't beat a one-handed guy. And if you go back and watch that fight, like I'm saying, Shakur wasn't just running. Jermaine Ortiz really moved a lot on Teo. That never happened with Shakur Stevenson and fighting this guy. That never happened. So De Los Santos is De Los Santos. He got a reputation off of that. That boosted his reputation. I don't know why. He didn't do nothing to Shakur. He didn't wobble him, didn't hurt him, didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? And the man was one-handed. So, but shout out to De Los Santos. Like I say, I think he's more risk than reward. Actually, that'd be a great fight for Abdullah Mason in his first title defense. That'd be a great fight for him in his title defense. That'd be a good. They should use him for that
instead of Joe Cordina.
Yeah, Joe Cordina was rough too, though. I watched him against the kid from Fresno. What's the kid's name? I forget his name. They was pushing him, but he just ain't there. He took a lot of punishment. He probably need to go get a job. Gabriel Flores. Gabe Flores. Yeah, Gabe Flores. From Vegas, yeah. He from Fresno. Or he from Sacramento. He from the Bay Area.
Yeah, he just be training. Yeah, he be training.
Yeah. So I would say I would say that, you know what I mean? Because Abdullah Mason is the guy. I think he got a lot of potential. And like I said, him fighting a guy like De Los Santos is almost like a Bud fighting Gamboa in his first title defense. You know what I mean? So that would be a great fight for Abdullah Mason. You know what I mean? And he's more known than Joe Cordina. You know what I mean? And given the controversy that he's been in, you know what I'm saying? The way he's perceived as kind of feared. That'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason.
Damn, my boy Bernie said that's like Gamboa versus Crawford for his first title defense. That shit is fire.
Yeah,
I like it. Carlos Vargas, thank you for the donation. Shout out from the Bay. Who you guys got, Shakur or Shakur Stevenson? How does this play out?
I don't know, man. Like I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know how it play out. I'm just want to see the fight.
So you think it's a 50-50? Shakur and Teo?
Everything is a 50-50. Well, I would say 60, but I'm leaning towards Shakur for sure. I'm leaning for Shakur. I'm rooting for Shakur.
So you think it's going to be a close fight?
Well, I don't know about how close. I don't know. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. Let me say that. I think it's going to be a competitive fight.
Shakur Stevenson says chasing greatness means facing whoever blocks the path. For him, Teofimo Lopez is not personal, but necessary. He believes legacy is built by beating the best available opponents. If Lopez stands in the way, then the fight must happen. Avoiding that challenge would only slow his journey toward greatness.
That's how I look at it. Like, same way he probably feel about me, I feel the same way about him. He's in my way. I'm chasing greatness.
But I wasn't in your way. You came up to my weight.
Yeah.
You didn't have nobody at 35.
That's true, but you the guy, bro. You the guy. You 4 Kings. You been the guy for
But
years.
you the guy on the
years.
pound for pound.
I
I'm
agree.
not.
I agree. I understand.
So how am I the guy if you on the pound
But
for
you're
pound?
the guy, bro. You know you the guy, bro.
I'm Theo. Yes.
Yeah. You been the guy since, bro. You the guy. But I'm just telling you.
But I don't.
You're in my
that's the
way,
thing.
bro.
I don't carry it that way.
But you're in my way.
The mentality is never going
But
to
you're
be
in
that
my way. But you're in my way. So
No.
I gotta move you out my way. That's how I look at this.
Nope.
Ain't nobody taking food off my table. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I'll tell you this though, you bit more than you could chew.
It's cool. You can feel that way.
For sure.
But come fight night, you gonna realize this is a lot different than being on the outside than being inside of there.
As they all say.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Shakur Stevenson is very close to true greatness. He praises Shakur intelligence, control, and awareness, but says footwork is the final key. Improving movement and positioning can unlock another level. With better feet, Shakur can create angles, faster control exchanges, and become harder to hit. Roy says great fighters separate themselves through small details, and polishing this area could turn Shakur from elite into special.
Stevenson is a very good fighter, but you gotta learn, and I will hope he will pay attention to this because this is gonna mean a lot for him. His feet are good, but sometimes they take him too far out of range to be able to come back and counter. The last guy he fought, the guy was a good puncher, so when he was jumping back, he was jumping too far back out of range to where he couldn't come back and get something right away. You understand me? And for the fans, it starts to look bored.
That's how I'd say. I feel like he was running.
He really ain't running. He just don't understand that this is somebody that's teaching. He a great fighter. He got great eyesight. He has great reaction time. He gonna be a great fighter. He just gotta figure out how to use them feet a little different.
Is he the best defensive fighter out of all four of them?
Right now, defensive, yes, because his defense is with his feet. So what people don't understand, defense isn't with your hands, it's with your feet. And he has the best foot defense of the game. So if he uses it for defense, when it's strictly defense, yes. But when you want to make it offensive, you can't do this.
Shane Mosley believes the result depends on the styles each fighter brings that night. Power, speed, patience, and adaptability will matter more than hype. He says it is not about names, but about who sets the rhythm first. The fighter who controls pace and style will control the fight.
Shakur Stevenson is going to get slower moving up in weight or not, where Teofimo can hit him. Maybe he was really fast at 130, 26-30, maybe 35, but 40, you put on a little bit more weight. Shakur Stevenson has a very strong style where he can sit back and pot shot you and box and stuff like that, where Teofimo can also box and is very athletic and can get from side to side and can make things difficult for you as well. So what style is going to impose on the other is what we want to see.
So which style will impose? Is it something where like the first rounds really will dictate, or?
I think you're going to need a couple of rounds, but the first round is going to be very interesting. Maybe you see some tails, but I think maybe 2 or 3 you're going to start seeing one leave the other. Because I don't think that, well, maybe, I mean, Shakur might show some different, if he has to go after Teofimo, he might show some different type of heart that we haven't seen or different type of fighting we haven't seen. And vice versa, you know, whereas Teofimo's hitting him with different shots off the angle that is kind of giving, you know, Shakur Stevenson trouble. We'll see about that.
Jermaine Ortiz shares that Shakur Stevenson will not fight recklessly again. He says Shakur learned the importance of distance and timing and will not repeat past mistakes. Ortiz notes Lopez is dangerous at higher weights, but his style can be countered. Shakur defense, reach, and movement make him hard to hit clean. While Lopez may land some shots, Shakur is likely to stay disciplined and avoid damage. Ortiz believes the fight will be shaped by Shakur's calm, calculated approach, forcing Lopez to adjust. He adds that Lopez is tricky, but Shakur's adaptability and ring intelligence should give him the edge.
A glimpse or two.
Why?
And one, Shakur said it himself after that fight that he wasn't going to fight like that again. And that's the main reason. He said he wasn't going to do it. And
Teo's cracking like that?
To 140, which isn't really... Huh?
Is Teo cracking?
No, I don't think. I think he had more of a threat with Zepeda as a puncher and Teofimo. but he's going up a weight class. That's not naturally his weight class as well.
You think that'll play a factor?
No, that would play a factor in him not fighting the pocket how he did with the Peter.
Got you.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, because of the style, you feel like he's gonna be in and out, moving around, making sure that
in and out,
doing things that Teal don't like.
He got longer arms. You know, I think he'll just keep him at bay. You know, Teo's a tricky fighter too, so not saying that he can't, you know, slip in and catch him with a couple shots, but Shakur, I think he's gonna be defensively sound. He doesn't like getting hit, and I think he's gonna stick to that.
You know, as far as Shakur is concerned and Teal, when you look at the speed, when you look at the timing, who do you feel like has that edge when it comes down to that? It could be separate. It could be somebody got the speed.
The analysis notes that Teofimo Lopez was once a feared force at 140 pounds and remains explosive, especially early where his power is dangerous. The matchup becomes a clash of styles. Lopez aggression and strength against Shakur's superior IQ range and control. Shakur is seen as a slight favorite with a 60-40 edge, but Lopez can make it competitive if he pressures early and forces exchanges. Lopez must avoid past mistakes like overreaching or becoming predictable. If he cuts the ring, well, the fight could be exciting. Ultimately, Shakur defense and intelligence will test Lopez's ability to execute under pressure.
Can Teofimo hurt Shakur with one shot? Can you hurt him clean? He hasn't been as much of a killer at 140, and after Kambosos, he hasn't been the same in my opinion, but he's still explosive and still dangerous in the first 7 rounds. You know what I'm saying? First 8 rounds. So I think it's a good fight. I like the fight actually because of that. Teofimo got the explosive punching power on his side and good athleticism, and Shakur has the superior boxing IQ, good range, good distance. So it's great. It's good boxer versus good athlete at this point. So I like the fight. I don't say it's 50-50. I say it's 60-40 Shakur. But I like Teofimo's chances in this fight. You know what I'm saying? If Teofimo makes this a fight and comes out early and attacks and gets right up on Shakur, right? Attacks him and makes him fight. I mean, it's gonna be one of two things. Either you're gonna see what's his name? The Jesus, or what's his name? The guy that he fought. De La Santos. You're gonna see De La Santos part 2, and he just gonna get on his bicycle, which we don't want to see, or he gonna have to fight. And and I think Teofimo is a guy that can make Shakur fight because he can cut off the ring well enough. You know what I'm saying? I think he can stay with him well enough where he could turn this into a fight, and it'll be exciting for him if he does. I think Shakur, like a lot of fighters, he needs this name in order to silence a lot of the naysayers, because people talk a lot of shit about Shakur, especially after the De La Santos fight. I don't think, the Zabata fight took it off of him, even though they tried to make it seem like,
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.